guys, it's Matt from Invision Home Theatre. Today we're going to go through a quick video tutorial on the installation of in-ceiling speakers. Now, these in-ceiling speakers are becoming quite popular because of the way that they finish and the way that they sit once they're installed. They're not invasive, they don't stand out, and they don't hang from the ceiling like a satellite speaker or a box style speaker in a cabinet. Now, the installation process of these speakers is pretty universal. They've streamlined the process a little bit to make it a bit easier for us when we're installing these. Now, the basic process is we're going to find a spot in the ceiling where we want the speaker to sit. We're going to check for studs, make sure there's no timbers or obstructions in the way. Then we'll cut out the gyprock. The speaker will slide up into the ceiling, and then we've got these little tabs that turn and lock, and they'll hold the speaker in place on the gyprock. Now, there are a few key things that we need to look out for while we're doing this, and we'll run through that as we go along. Now, this particular speaker is a Yamo 8.5 contractor series, so it's quite a good speaker for what we're going to be doing today here. We've got 4 zones of audio throughout the house, distributed audio from a multi-room system, which will be powering these we've got the kitchen. There'll be a couple of speakers out in the al fresco, in the garage, and then in the area where the pool table is going to sit. We're also going to be putting some in-ceiling speakers in the theatre area or the living area. There'll be a 5.1 in-ceiling system going in there. So, I suppose let's get started. So before we go too far, I'll just quickly run through a few of the tools that we'll need to get the job done. So, a basic stud finder is going to be important to help you locate any studs in the ceiling. So first of all, what we want to do is find out exactly where the speaker is going to sit, check the area for studs, and then something I like to do is get up in the ceiling and double check the area to make sure that there's nothing else in the way. So this is a new property, so there's not going to be anything in the ceiling space. But if you're working on an existing property, you might find the Christmas tree up in the ceiling, or boxes, or there could be an old hot water service. You don't want to go cutting around in there and trying to fit a speaker in under a hot water system. Now, in a new property, we're going to be pretty safe, but I still like to get up and check in the ceiling. So I'll show you that when we do. But this is good to give you a general idea of where you want to locate the speakers to start. You're going to need the gyprock saw to cut it out. Your pencil, obviously you get a template within the packaging of the speaker that's unique for that speaker. So we'll need a screwdriver, or in this case I use a little cordless drill. I don't recommend using a powerful cordless drill. This is just a 3 volt because you might thread the screws while you're putting it up, or you might damage the gyprock. I like to wear a safety mask just to be safe. It's always a good idea. And you'll need a torch if you're going to get up in the roof, or in this case I like to use a headlamp. This just makes my job a bit easier while I'm climbing around up in the roof. Now we're going to get a bit of echo in here because this is a new house. There's no furniture in here, and there's nothing to dampen the sound. So, okay, we've got a hole here in the ceiling where a downlight is going to be placed in the future. So you can just stick your hand up in here and feel which way the timbers are running. In this case, they're running this way, so we know that we can move the speaker any way we like in this area. Okay, the only thing we're going to have to watch out for is the timbers running this way. Now, the client has expressed to me that they are more concerned with the aesthetics rather than the sound reproduction, so the speakers have got to be put in a pretty particular location, which is going to be in line with the end of the door here, and somewhere between the wall and the centre of the downlight. So they're going to sit about here, depending on the location of those timbers. Now in Australia, timbers in the ceiling and in the walls are spaced typically at 600mm apart. So if you know that there's a timber here, you can roughly gauge that there's going to be another one around this area. So we can just get the stud finder And there it is. And that is pretty much right where we want our speaker to sit. So we're going to have to pick a side, either the left or the right of that timber, and we'll mark out a spot for it, and then we'll go up and check in the ceiling that that's going to be okay. Before we cut any holes in the ceiling, we want to double check every speaker in the room is going to work in the spot that you've marked out. For example, I want this speaker to sit right at the edge of this doorway here, which is fine. There's no timbers there, it works perfectly. I've just gone and checked on the other side of the door, and there's a timber right where I want the speaker to sit. So we're going to have to relocate both speakers so that they're equal on each side and they sit nice. We don't want one speaker to sit off centre to a doorway and another one in a totally different location. Okay, we'll film a little bit of this on the phone just so I can show you guys what's going on in the ceiling space here. Now, okay. Alright, we've got quite a good ceiling space here to work with. As you can see, it's quite high, so I can walk around freely in here. Now, while you're working up inside a ceiling space, you always want to be careful of what you're walking on, and don't just assume that something's going to be safe, because in a lot of cases it's not. Alright, so here is it was one of the air conditioning vents in the area that I want to work with, and over there's another one. So probably can't see out here, but you can a little bit. The edge of the door where I want to put my speaker there, you can see that, and that's pretty much right in line with this timber here. So we're going to use the downlights as a guide, and we're going to put the speakers central to the downlights in this area. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of room to work with there, so we haven't got a lot of play. We'll go over this side and have a look at the other downlight and just make sure that that's got nothing around it, which hopefully is under this piece of insulation here. Just here. So we're going to keep everything in line, I'm going to use the center line of the downlights for the center line of my speakers. And while we're up here, we might as well grab the speaker cable that we left here earlier and just pop it down so that we can reach it later. Okay, so we've checked up in the ceiling space the location that we want to put speakers, and we're happy. Now we're going to mark them out and we can start cutting the hole for them. It's also a good idea to wear safety glasses while you're doing this. You're going to get a lot of gyprock forming. Gyprock dust. Okay, so there we have it. The templates that come with the speakers are generally pretty good, so you don't need to allow any extra when you're cutting out the hole. If you just trace around it and cut that on the line the speaker should slide in perfectly. Okay, so we've got our hole cut out. Now we just need to terminate the speaker cable, and we can put the speaker in. I generally like to leave a little bit of slack on the cable so that, you know, if somebody ever wants to pull it out at a later date, they've got a bit of room to play with. Okay, now, when you get to this stage, you're going to want your screwdriver. So don't go and plug the speaker in without your screwdriver, because you'll need it to tighten it onto the ceiling. Okay? Okay, there we have it. Okay, just one last thing before I go. You're probably going to want to cover up the back of the speaker in the ceiling. You know, I like to sometimes use the box, just cut it in half, pop it over the speaker, and then you can put the insulation back over it, just to stop dust getting in and affecting the speaker. You can buy proper covers, but I'll show you. These can work quite well as well. This is just the foam packaging that the speaker came in. Okay, thanks guys, hope that was informative.